Hello and welcome to the Final Bell. It's great to have you with us for another week. I'm joined, as I am every single week, by Meg McDonald. Hello, Meg.
Hey, Lingy. Going well?
I'm going all right.
Yep.
I'm going all right. So I know both of us are feeling pretty similar. An improved performance on the weekend, but the reality is 4 losses in a row. The first time in Chris Scott's tenure as coach of the Geelong Football Club. After a 7-0 start, we now sit at 7-4. On those numbers alone, not the end of the world, but when it's 4 straight, it does have that little bit of pain to it. But what we saw on the weekend was a much improved performance by both the Giants, who are coming off 3 losses as well, and by the Cats. We're going to talk all about that game. We're going to look forward to the big game Saturday night against the Tigers. And as we love to do every single week, we will get to our listener questions. I had a heap of them come through, so we'll get to as many as we possibly can. Let's dive straight into the game, though, Meg. What was a good start?
Great start.
What was a good chase at the end? But unfortunately, probably the lull, I would say the second quarter was certainly the one where midfield-wise they got on top of us and controlled the game, and they put those goals on the board where ultimately, despite a brave comeback, it's what probably cost us the game.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, as you say, the start was really exciting. I wondered watching it back, I thought, should we have wondered more about the fact that we're sinking sort of long-range goals early. Those first 5 are coming from beyond or on the 50-metre arc. Is that saying much about how's our ball movement going there? But happy days, it felt good. I'm looking across. We've flipped the camera this week and I'm looking across at where I was sitting and I was loving life up in the Joel Selwood stand. So things were positive early, but as you say, we sort of lost the midfield battle, I think, in the middle. Is that what you'd attribute it to?
No, that was certainly my feel. I was here at the game just as a spectator. I wasn't working with any media commitments. I brought the kids along, and in that second quarter, it just felt clearance and midfield control went the Giants' way, which when I reflect on the game, I actually think, well, okay, so Max Holmes was really good in the game, and I thought Tanner Bruin had some terrific moments in the middle of the ground, and there were moments of other midfielders where we were good, but just for that patch, there was the drop off, and they took advantage of that, and maybe that's just us being, and I don't mean this any disrespectfully to any of the individuals who were in the middle at the time, but it was our ability to sustain high intensity, high hunt of the football, contested ball, pressure on the opposition, run and spread either offensively or defensively from that midfield contest, it just dropped off maybe 5-10%, yet they sustained it and then they went away with it. And that was enough for us. And I mean, Brandon Parfitt was out, Dangerfield and Guthrie is still out. So maybe it's just where we are missing a couple of personnel means we can't quite sustain it for an entire 120 minutes at the moment through that part of the ground. Yeah,
really interesting you say that, because I relate it back often to what we're experiencing in our AFLW team, and we speak about that as we go into a new season soon. We're trying to build that depth because we fell away quite a bit in second halves because, our first string midfield is elite, and then how do you build the depth so that you can rotate, so that you can, have that consistency across 4 quarters? I mean, perhaps people would say in response, well, they found some energy late, but, that's the ebbs and flows of a game, I suppose.
But also then the opposition get tired as well, and so you have that. So, and it's a fair point. I think, and credit to Kieran Briggs, I thought they controlled the ruck, and he was really smart with understanding that a combination of Toby Conway and Mark Blitzarves and Shannon Neal was going to be better athletically than he was with the jump and the younger legs. He went almost old school, just I'm going to bullock you out of the way.
I'm going to put you on the deck a few times.
Yeah. Don't get us started on the umpiring too much, Meg. Otherwise I'll start firing up. You can learn some new words like my son's learned some new words on the weekend. But yeah, no, you're right. Just pure strength of throwing them out of the way and either hacking it forward, kicking it forward himself, or making a clear path for his midfielders. So maybe there was also an element of their mids being super proactive and Geelong midfielders slightly reactive because of that ruck dominance. I don't know that. I've played in games where it's been a clear. We might have had Otto was injured. We're coming up against Aaron Sandilands from Fremantle. You can't help but be a little bit reactive. You're like, okay, our ruckman's going to do everything it can to make the ball drop into a really close radius at the ruckman's feet. But what if Big Sandy
gets a big mitt on it,
puts one's 10 metres out, lace out to a player on the bolt, and what do we do? And you can't help but err on the side of being reactive as opposed to proactive. So maybe I'm just searching for answers.
Yeah, and I felt that married up a little bit with what we were seeing when they were entering. We were losing a few sort of contested marks. I felt like the defenders were getting caught under the ball a bit and sort of going to the front of the contest. And I don't know how many times in the early I'm looking at the Giants keys and thinking, well, you're at the back, you've just nudged them under and
Jake
plunked
Riccardi
it from
got a couple from there.
a few deep. I think that speaks. I mean, there's of course there's method in it from the defence, but when the midfield can penetrate like that and can allow you forwards to hold that position, that's it's tough to defend. But I thought we corrected that really well. I thought, I think Jack Henry conceded one early in that sort of situation, and then I think took 4 contested marks for the rest of the game and really was huge as the game went on. So
I also probably got to talk about the last quarter as well, Meg. And obviously after 4 losses, you try not to, you can't help but be a little bit, oh no, what's going on?
Yeah.
But also it can't be all just negative. I think Chris Scott spoke about it. There can't be a massive overcorrection to it. The inside 50 count in the last quarter was 24-5 or something along those lines. And it was a little element of us not quite having the composure going forward that we'd had earlier on in the year. Now that comes with that feeling a little bit of perhaps the tightness of, we got to win this one. We got to win this one. You become a little bit rushed, and maybe I'm probably thinking of one example. There was, I don't even know who the kicker was, but there was maybe if they'd run an extra 3 or 4 metres, the kick goes longer over the top. Might have been Ollie, which unfair on a young player.
Yeah.
But that composure and calmness of mind to think, okay, I know where I need to get this. I see that player free. All very, very easy, by the way, when I'm sitting in the second tier of the stand where there's space galore. But a little bit of that composure part comes in with the tightening of a win and loss record.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we shanked a few entries at certain points. I wondered if the sort of smother that led to the Toby goal that lost us the game was even one of those. I feel like O'Sheen has been, in a different circumstance, under different pressures. Perhaps he finds that handball or he evades, tries to get it forward on the boot quite quickly, and you smother and ends in an elite finish.
Well, can I say that despite us losing and...
Toby love's coming up.
Well, I can't help it, but it took... I turned to my kids. I swear this happened in the game. I was shattered, like everyone else, and they were, and I was consoling Henry in particular. I think his tears were starting to well up. Oh. But I said, boys, if this didn't occur against Geelong, we've just witnessed one of the best goals you'll ever see.
Yeah, what a goal.
From pressure across his body, so coming onto his right leg, facing nowhere near the goals, from the distance that he was out in the part of the game where it had to decide it, and he flushed it with a banana. That is as good as you will ever see.
I know.
And fast forward, Lek Alir's last mark was one of the best intercept marks you'll ever see. I think someone compared it to Leo Barry-ish type mark. I know it wasn't a grand final, I know it wasn't that, but it was in that realm of brilliance. So 2 incredible moments get the Giants over the line, and we fall short.
Yeah, I think everyone was feeling... that I think the Giants are quite a popular team amongst the rest of the comp. They feel like a safe
except
safe
down here
team.
at GMHBA Stadium.
I was sitting next to some teammates up in the stands, and some Claudia Goodjack was going, I feel sick. I was like, oh, I don't feel sick. This is a great team. It's a good game. We're 7-3, soon to be 7-4. But I also felt that, what was the clock? Was it 7:20 or so still to go when Green kicks that goal? So I thought we were so far on top, for the rest of the quarter. But the pressure.
Yeah, that's right. Unfortunately, we do fall to 7-4. As we touched on, I thought some terrific performances. Max Holmes has been outstanding all year.
Do you like Max into the middle?
Well, yeah. So I was going to say predominantly off half back, where he's been excellent, but through a little bit of necessity, but I think his ultimate strength lies in the middle of the ground.
Yeah.
He has an ability to win the contested ball inside, but turn it into great outside play with his run. I only look at the best team in the competition right now in the Sydney Swans, and Chad Warner and Isaac Heaney are exactly those types of midfielders. They are hard, strong in a contest, can win it in tight, but can turn it into some of the most damaging forward run and forward ball use. To me, that's Max Holmes for us. Yeah. So I love that. And I think even Tanner Bruin's adding...
He kicked our first goal, didn't he?
Yeah, he's getting elements of starting to move away from the contest with ball in hand. So those two really good. Zach Tui was excellent for the Cats as well. Tyson Stengel, very good up forward for the Cats. Again, he continues his really good form. But as we love to do, Meg, we mentioned Bendigo Bank's Meet the Moment nominees.
Oh, yes.
You can jump on any of the Cats website or social media channels to have a look at these and maybe make your pick. A couple of nominations for you. Tommy Atkins' effort in the fourth quarter. Any time in the game, Tom Atkins is always just trying his absolute hardest. But I'm thinking the fourth quarter one, couple of tackles, the pressure.
Yeah, it was that second phase getting out to the wing and then...
Yeah, caused the kick out in the full, I think it was. And the other one... the third quarter, Jeremy Cameron marks in defence, transition play to Neil and ending in the Tom Hawkins goal, if you can remember that one.
Yeah, I felt like that was when we started to think, all right, we're back in this, we're going. But I possibly would have, I don't know if it's a 1%er, but Jake Kolajasny's goal, I liked that one.
Ah, yes, that got the crowd up and about.
Not his first goal, but surely his first snap.
Can I admit something with that goal?
Oh no, what?
I briefly ran to the toilet.
Oh, you missed it. Oh no!
And I was standing next to a guy, as you do in the gentleman's room, and just this huge roar. And I turned to him and I said, "That probably means good things." That awkward moment.
I don't know if you would have picked exactly what it meant.
No,
I'm not familiar with that awkward moment, but.
But I thought something good's happened there, and I got back to the seat, and my kids told me it was Jake Kolajasny. So well done, Jakey. We're going to take a break because I want to then take what we've seen out of Saturday's game and how that shifts into the focus for Saturday night against Richmond. Richmond, much improved performance in dream time at the G. So the need to down a couple of players that we're going to talk about in a sec. The fact that we're going to have to improve again. Just before we do, though, AFLW, I was down waiting for my coffee.
Yep.
And I noticed a big group of the team heading out post-workout, post-session, but not officially started pre-season
No, not
yet?
official. We did some gym this morning, so we officially start on Monday, and really exciting. We got our final list spots been filled with Lily Pearce, and we've had a few interstaters that have descended on Geelong. Kate Sermon, who I know is a listener of the pod. Shout out to Kate. She made her or Spud. Sorry, Kate's getting called Kate. Spud was here for the game on the weekend. She lives on the Gold Coast, so she's come down, and she was a player a few weeks ago on the pod. We were speaking about being an ear for players who need to debrief, and I might have said that after a win in the ice bath for 45 minutes is not the time. And on your Spuddy, you accurately identified yourself, and you take that on board.
Good.
Bridie's another one. Bridie O'Rourke, she's another one that I've said I'll give a shout out to. So on you girls, keep listening.
Fixtures may be out later this week. Maybe.
Yep. Hopefully Friday.
Hopefully Friday. Excellent.
Well, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say pod exclusive.
Okay, could be Friday, could be early the following week, but hopefully Friday. So maybe just watch the Cats website for all that. I'm sure once it is announced, it'll be a big announcement right across the AFL. So thank you for that, Meg. Let's take a break. Let's look to the Richmond game next.
Hi Cats fans, it's Joel Selwood here. Tickets are now on sale for the Geelong Cats Hall of Fame dinner. Join the club for an evening of celebration as Cameron Ling enters his name into history as the newest club legend. The evening will also see new Hall of Fame inductees and life members recognised. Head to the Geelong Cats website and check out the events page to book your tickets now.
Welcome back. It's great to have you with us on to the final bell. Let's look forward to Saturday night, shall we, Meg?
Let's do it. Consecutive games here.
Yes. Love that. And Richmond are coming down the highway first time since 2017.
Yep.
I do remember that game.
Do you? We won.
Yeah, but it felt like it was a...
Oh, you felt like they were going to win the premiership that year?
Yeah, it felt like a turning point.
Okay.
It was kind of a, they're good. And they kind of
they're
had
good.
something rolling. And then, was it a couple of weeks later, it was the qualifying final and it was,
That was pre-Cats for me. I was at that game, but I wasn't yet at the Cats, so different memories of it. But it was funny. I watched the highlights from that 2017 round 21 game, I think. So different. I mean, obviously some similar personnel, but you think of that as, it's just a couple of years ago, but Andrew Mackey's kicking a goal and it was all...
Mack was still playing.
Yeah, he was still playing. He got really up and about after sinking one. So I think Collar was... I don't want to say he was forward, but he was in lots of the forward highlights. And Harry Taylor kicked Four.
Oh, fantastic.
Producer Jesse today, he's under the pump. He kicked, I think, 4 that day, yeah.
I just remember thinking, this Richmond thing's not... It's kind of like a little bit of a... I've seen this before. They're not going to do that much. And then I left that game, even though we'd won, thinking, oh, no, they're a lot better than I thought they were. And look out.
Old mate Dusty can play.
Oh, yeah. He reminded everyone again on Saturday night at Dreamtime at the G, where he was superb. So we do take on the Tigers.
Maybe he'll get managed for the trip down the highway this week.
Well, I was discussing that on air on radio on Sunday, saying that he is currently scheduled to play his 300th game interstate. If he was to miss one game in the next few, that he would play it at the MCG.
How many's the next few?
I think it's 3 to go.
Okay.
I thought maybe it could be this week. Don't make the trip down the highway, Dusty, while you're in magnificent form after last week's performance. Just put the feet up. Just rest up. But no, Geelong do take on the Tigers Saturday night. It'll be a big crowd, I'd imagine. There's so many Tigers fans down this way.
Yes, and I think the message to all our members is that it's a fully ticketed game, unlike last time. So I know we've had a couple of weeks where it's been just swipe in with your general admission, but we do need members or GA members to upgrade to a reserve seat this week to ensure that they get a look at the game, because capacity.
Do that early and be in your seats by 7 p.m, the light show. A bit of action will be happening again. We
still want that Crowd Canvas app. Download that. It'll look sparkly. I know we pushed that last week, and then on air feedback to the team, I was walking to the game, I'm like, it's fully daylight still. But it'll be nighttime this week.
It will be. On the game though, we will be without Mark Blitzarves and we will be without Jai Clark. Both the clubs accepted both the 1 week suspensions for bumps on the same player, Lockie Whitfield, different times. You
can probably comment more than I can.
Yeah, rewatching them, I thought Blitz, probably 1 week maybe. Jai, I didn't think it was a 1 week. I know it was more his head clashes with Lockie's head, so I get the responsibility lies with him. I thought that was a fine at most. But anyway, the club has accepted the 1 week's suspensions for both those players. Chris Scott has said that Gary Rowan likely to be available for this week, but Patrick Dangerfield not available. So you assume Rowan comes back in?
Gary in. Gary's up and about in the corridors, so...
Oh, is he? Yeah, okay.
I would have liked him on the weekend too. I possibly a little biased is Gary works with us in our W program, but yeah, I love seeing him out there. I think his pace and his how dynamic he is.
Versatility
really
as well. Wherever there's a little bit not working, can throw him behind the ball, burst through the middle, or obviously we know how dangerous he can be up forward. So we assume he comes back in. Other possible changes, which just allow me to jump forward to the VFL for 2 seconds, Meg. The Cats having a really good win against the GWS Giants. The VFL continues to be in great form. I think only lost 1 game for the year or 1 game. They're great form. Mitch Hardy, another 36 disposals, continues his brilliant form. Sean Manor kicks 3. Just throwing some names out there. Ted Closey, I know, has been a favourite of ours on the podcast, 25 touches and 2 goals. Lawson Humphrey continues to be a weapon for the VFL. I'm just throwing names up.
Who are you going with?
Brandon Parfitt.
You want that midfield depth.
24 touches.
Oh, yeah, Parf.
I feel like Parf's form, and I get perhaps he was one of those who copped it because the 3 losses in a row, and maybe there was the decision there. But I think his form throughout the early part of the season goes back into the VFL, clearly has an impact. I think he can come back hungry again and add a bit more depth to that midfield, which is now missing Blitzarves and Jai Clark.
Yeah, and I think he has that sort of reckless isn't the right word, but particularly not considering what's happened. But the pressure that Clark can bring, I see is similar in Path. Just that I'm getting you.
I want Mitch Hardy.
Did I? No. Did I?
Well,
Half? Yeah.
We can
beep that out.
Beep that one out.
I think I
thought
I half swallowed it.
I thought it was a gritted teeth one, so it's fine. We'll give Jesse his first
Sorry,
challenge.
Jesse. It's when I talk about pressure, I can't help it.
I like the fact you're fired up, Meg.
I'm going to bring some of my own this year.
I wouldn't mind Mitch Hardy getting a run.
Yeah.
I'd love a look. So
you want to look? I'd love the energies of here are your hoops. Let's go.
Came in obviously mid-season last year.
Yeah.
Am I right? Yeah, I always get my years mixed up. Last year, obviously a mature player, played senior footy, has from all reports been unbelievable with his attitude to learn and train hard and grow and everything like that, and then played exceptional footy at VFL level. His form has been outstanding all season in the VFL. I think not just for his own benefit, he deserves it, but also the message of, here, if you train like this, if you have an attitude like this and you play at VFL level like you're aiming to play AFL, here's what happens to you. You get rewarded.
Yeah, you get rewarded.
I'd love that.
I agree. And I'd love to see Sean out there again, Shawnee Manor out there again too, because he hasn't gone. He's got multiple goals in consecutive games at the moment. But again, our small forwards are doing, they're continuing to play well. So,
but as I say every week, Meg, we're allowed to bring 4 or 5 people
in.
We don't have to leave any out. We've put Blitzarves and Jai Clark out because
we've brought 3 in for 2, I think.
Okay.
Thus far today.
Well,
that's all right.
Let's not let the numbers get in the way of what we want to do.
But you can see them all.
Yeah.
If you come early enough.
Oh, they play. Excellent.
Yeah, a little double header again.
There we go. See if
3 p.m. I think. Yeah, 3 p.m. You can gate 1, 13 and 5.
3:30 p.m. according to your notes.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
VFL, or 3:30 p.m. start, but
3 p.m. gates open.
3 p.m. gates open.
There we go. Look at us working beautifully together. Sorry, Meg.
No, yeah, sorry, wrong notes. Sorry.
But as you mentioned, another double header. That's the best way to watch. So that's that. After watching Richmond, I watched the Essendon Richmond game pretty closely. We saw Richmond's capability of, if there's enough pressure around the middle of the ground and the hunt of the Prestiers and Martins and these types of players can get after the ball, and then Floston and these good defenders can still come in. They can be dangerous.
Of course they can.
They're all AFL players, highly skilled, highly trained AFL players. And yes, they've lost a couple of games by big margins. But if that desire, that hunger's there, and the opposition isn't really right on from the start of the game, it becomes dangerous. And Essendon kept the door open a little bit, and Richmond, to their credit, kept coming all night. I think the important part from Geelong's perspective is really quality early, hard, high pressure, flip the pressure back on Richmond early on in this game, create turnovers, create doubt, create a lack of confidence in the young Richmond players, and really get the game on the Cats' terms early on.
Yeah, bully them a little bit.
Yeah. I think that's important. And it's funny how when you are a better team than the opposition because of where they sit with injuries and experience and everything like that, is if you can crush any confidence, any spirit early, you can set yourself up for an easier night versus leaving the door ajar the whole night, and then it becomes a real battle and an arm wrestle all night.
Yeah, set the tone. I like it.
Absolutely. Before we take another break and we get to your questions, the VFLW, we touched on the plan with the AFLW that's coming up, but the VFLW, unfortunately...
bleak on the weekend, I think.
Yeah, was that because of Williamstown fielding a really strong team? I mean, the score was 89-3.
Yeah, I think they're quite a strong team. They don't have as many... I think they're a strong team. And I don't know how many AFLW listed players they have, so they sort of have that consistency week to week. Other aligned teams have players coming in and out, and we had I think maybe just Abby McDonald in there on the weekend. So, But I think the competition will probably even out from now on because I don't know how many AFLW players will go around. But
while pre-season's starting officially.
Starting officially, and
all right. So
we look to the fixture.
We've got a great day lined up for everyone who's a listener. You
Get in the car.
Kick off at 11 a.m. against the Western Bulldogs at Avalon Airport Oval for the VFLW. Then nick back to gates opening at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Game starts at 3:30 for the VFL. And then stay all night and watch the Cats knock off the Tigers. That is a great Saturday.
That's a great Saturday. I went... Do you know, I didn't drown my sorrows on the weekend, but I worked out that, 4:30 game here, 8 p.m. showing of a movie that I wanted to see at the Pivotonian. So I just popped down and...
Ducked across the road.
I just ducked across the road via the APCO.
What movie?
It was called Perfect Days. Okay. It's Japanese.
Good.
Yes, meditative. So quite slow. And I'm here for a slow movie, but I don't know that if you weren't into if you didn't have that patience in you, you might struggle.
It's a strange combination, I must say, Meg, going from a thrilling finish, big crowd at GMHBA Stadium, craziness to I'm just going to chill and watch a bit of a slow movie here.
Well, I don't think that on the Venn diagram of people that were 30,000 of us here and then 30 people in the cinema, I think mine might have been the crossover of one.
Fair enough.
But I actually... Sorry, I mean, we're wrapping up, but I still had my Cats stuff on. But here's one for you. About 4 weeks ago, it was getting cold and I thought, you know what, I'll wear that retro woolen Cats Guernsey to the game. And I've worn it 4 weeks in a row.
Okay, that one can maybe just...
What do we think?
That one can head to the bottom of the wardrobe for a little bit.
On the weekend, I was like, no, what you do is irrelevant. Not so.
You tell yourself that. There's a lot of superstitions that a lot of people have that work. Trust me.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. Let's get to some fan questions. Maybe there's some questions about superstitions. Maybe there's a question around your jumper choice and whether or not it needs to go. But we'll get to that next.
Hi Cats fans, it's Tom Hawkins here. Tickets are now on sale for the Geelong Cats Hall of Fame dinner. Join the club for an evening of celebration as Cameron Ling etches his name in history as the newest club legend. The evening will also see the newest Hall of Fame inductees and life members recognised. Head to Geelong Cats website to check out the events page to book your tickets.
Welcome back. It is great having you with us. I always get into that, like, welcome back, don't I?
Welcome back.
Give you a bit of a fire up, but it is great to have you with us. Let's go into these questions, shall we?
We actually got some feedback on the welcome back that I think this is for you, Jesse, producer. Maybe we need some ads or some sort of music because I think it just... Who was it?
So
Spud was telling me there's actually no
gap.
Okay. Gap. We just go out.
Well, and then we come back in. All right, we're back in.
We need a little tune.
Well, anyone who wants to sponsor, give us a yell.
Yeah,
we can chuck your ad right in there and then I can give a big welcome back. This question here, Meg, is it fair to feel more positive post-loss than pre-game, given it seemed things improved in situ?
As a player, no.
No,
I think as a supporter,
player, no.
yes.
Comparing it to the previous loss, which was the Darwin experience, and not a pleasant one at all. Yeah, I would have thought so. I thought we improved. I thought we grew in certain areas. I think we got back to some of what we do really well. We've still got a lot more to do, absolutely. But I think... I mean, it's obvious. It was a much improved performance.
Yeah, I think that's what I was hinting at before. I was sitting up there going, "Oh, I don't feel sick. Like this is, would be great to win, but there are signs."
Yeah, I think it's simply the fact that that's now 4 in a row that makes you feel like, oh, we've got to be angrier and more down on it. Yeah. If there was the Gold Coast Suns loss, and then there was a win or two in between, which would be very nice, and then there was this loss. We'd be looking at this game going, okay, so we did this really well. We did this really well. Got to be better in that area. Got to be better in that area. But I reckon if we do this, we'll be fine. But it's simply when you add up 4 losses and we try, and I know you'd be the same. Internally, you have to ignore the wins and the losses and the result-driven. It's got to be how we're going about things. But us as fans can't help but go, oh, God, that's 4 in a row.
Yeah.
And you just keep going there, which creates this cycle of negativity in your own mind.
It's really hard to fight it, isn't it? But, we said it last week and it might sound a little bit like a cop-out, but if you remove yourself from the momentum of it and the run of games, then you go, all right, you're in 6, you're 7-4. The footy that we're playing is winning some, losing some, which is probably what I'm sure the coaching staff would have said at any point, whether you ask us at 3-0, 7-0, 7-4. We're playing okay at times, but we're not setting the world on fire just yet.
Yeah. No, and it raises a good point. Were we actually as good as 7-0? Maybe not. But are we as bad as 0-4? Well, probably not.
Probably not, yeah.
Some of the footy's been good. Some of the footy needs improvement. As we sit here right now, the Sydney Swans are the best team in the competition by what feels like a long way. But I do also remember in 2022, in my other role, speaking in the media, saying at round 10 or 11, it was Melbourne and absolute daylight to the rest of the competition.
They hadn't lost, I don't think.
No. And I think it was the first signs. I think they played Fremantle. It's like, oh, hang on, yeah, maybe. But they were still the best team in the competition. A lot changes as the season progresses. Geelong have to fix up a couple of areas, but they also have to believe strongly in a couple of other areas they do really well.
Because hopefully you get the job done against the Tigers this week, go up, beat Sydney.
I like
the tone will change again.
There we go. Love the sound of that one. This next one goes back to a time in the past. Best grand final moment you've experienced or witnessed?
When I kicked the first goal in the VFLW grand final in 2017.
Yes.
Just crumbed a Daisy Pearce marking contest, guys. I'd played backline until that point.
Was it a snap or was it a drop punt? Or?
It's a drop punt.
Nice.
Missed a few for the rest of the game, but that's okay. I get a lot of shtick for kicking 1-3 or whatever I did that day. Doesn't matter, we won.
You won.
I'm sure that's not the moment they were hinting at. I missed Joel's goal in the granny.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Well, I was very lucky to have been invited into the
you're in the
race to
the
then
race,
go
right,
on stage.
Yep.
On stage, I guess. Yeah, our sporting stage.
Out onto the ground. After the game. Yep.
It's similar.
Yep.
Similar, but not. But slightly bigger deal than you missing Jake's goal on the weekend. I was like, oh, something awesome just happened. Can't quite see the field, but. Yeah, that would be it for me, I would say.
I think the most incredible combination of joy and relief and sheer exhaustion and just like thank whatever deity you want to thank was the moment the siren went in the 2009 grand final for me.
The middle one, yeah, right.
Yeah, it was a combination of...
Oh, because of the year before.
Yeah, the year before. It was a combination of the year we'd had. So many, to reflect really quickly, so many people talk about 2009. What a great year. It must have been fantastic. We were 13-0. The Saints were 13-0. That classic round 14 game. What a year. Gee, it must have been fun. No, 2009 was not fun. There was nothing about it that was fun. It's probably the least enjoyable year of football I've ever had.
Wow,
in
just
my
the pressure
career.
on it.
Well, the pressure on it and the fact that the wins each week, I personally, others might have been different, I just couldn't enjoy them.
Because you were just qualifying for the ultimate.
Yeah, it was about getting back to that place to make up for what we did, for that chance that we felt we'd blown it. Now, I wasn't using the burning ambition of that loss every single week as personal motivation, but it was you get off the ground. Usually there's this, it's like that. That 10, 20 minutes after a game, after a great win is the best. You're hugging, you're smiling, you're exhausted, you're crashing in the change rooms, and just
you're
sitting
reliving
next
the highlights of the game.
Yeah, and this. That's the magic. That's the joy. I didn't have that in 2009 in all of those games because the only thing that mattered was the grand final again. And then it was the most brutal, close, tense, vicious game that I'd played in. And I remember overhearing the runner for us. I can't even remember who the runner was in 2009. I'm sorry if I can't.
Sorry if they're a listener of the pod.
Yeah, exactly. Who was running in 2009? But I remember them yelling to someone else there's 1 minute to go.
Oh, yeah, how good.
And
What was the margin?
it was 6 points at this stage. Yeah, it was 6 points. And the ball was going back into their back line. I just overheard it. And so I'm saying to myself, stay in the moment, stay in the moment. But also the other part of my brain is trying to count down from 60 seconds, including calling time off in my head, like on the umpire's play. But stay in the moment. What do I need to do? I'm playing on Nick Del Santo. I'm like, he can't get dangerous and set him up here. And then Harry Taylor takes this mark on the wing. I'm like, okay, that's about 22. The anguish in my mind of that pressure and everything was then so intense that when that siren finally went, oh God, it felt good.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine the relief. It's funny that you say that about the clock because now that they use the signs, I find that happens a lot. You're going, do the maths here, how long to go?
Have you noticed some of those signs though? It's like you hold up the 1 minute sign and you look at the clock, and sometimes when I'm working my media role there's actually a minute 22 to go. So they're basically rounding down. I'm like, hang on, it's not a minute yet. Don't hold it.
I always wonder, I think, because obviously that sort of dictates how you play a little bit. So do you want the players to think there's slightly more or slightly less time than is indicated on the sign? I find it really interesting.
Tell me exactly how long. Right on the big board, 1 minute, 22 seconds.
22 seconds.
Thank you for that question. I'm happy to reminisce about any of those moments. And final one before we finish up the podcast, Meg. Do you think Tom Hawkins can play on until game number 400? That's two more seasons. I will never, ever, ever, ever try and retire a champion early because, well, we've seen what the champions can still do at older age. I mean, Scott Pendlebury's a great example at Collingwood. Yep. Joel and Tom are great examples for the Cats. But I don't see him getting to 400. I don't know what the number is. I don't know if it's next year. I don't know what it is, but 400 is a long, long way away.
Yeah, I tend to agree, but prove us wrong. That'd be great.
Yes. Yep. I'm happy to be
I'm here for
wrong.
the fans going for that because sometimes I'm like, you all need to just watch your mouth when it comes to Tom. Not our fans, but the broader media.
I did have a little chuckle. I noticed the beautiful moment when Tom ran through the banner to break the record, 356 games of his great mate Joel. He carried out Henry, his boy, and he had his two girls with him as well. He also carried out little Joey Selwood. Joey was screaming his head off and wanted to be returned to dad. I'm like, hang on, Joey's just getting the last laugh saying, I'm not so happy about you knocking off my dad for this.
Yeah, he wasn't happy. I think some of the photos I saw, neither of them were very happy.
Oh, but, no. Well, I think Henry copped a bit of a knock during the week and had
poor
a couple of stitches.
Ouch, 3 stitches I heard.
Yeah, not pleasant. But
not his first, I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, I did. Tom walking off the ground, I just wanted to go and give him a big hug at the end of it.
I was actually... I was just talking to him downstairs before, and Sarah, our media manager, was calling for a bit of a group hug today, and I think Tom was into it.
Oh, good, good. Because and the Giants, to their credit, they lined up, and Tom acknowledged them and everything like that. But he was kind of like, "Come on, let's just get this over and done with. We just lost a close game, but also acknowledge, it's an important moment. But can we get off the ground?" And I just wanted to run down there and give him a big hug and say, "Mate, you're a legend, a true legend."
It's what you were saying before, isn't it? About that, how much a win and a loss colours the next 20 minutes. Because if Brad Close if they don't get a finger on that and we win, or however it happens, it just changes everything in the game. All those moments that you're like, oh, I can't believe that happened. It shouldn't have happened. It's like, oh, lol, that happened. But anyway.
It's the reality sometimes, isn't it? The wins and losses. Let's look forward to next week, though. Tigers, Saturday night, 7:30. Be in your seats by 7 o'clock for the Big Light show. I think we're going to have a good crowd. I think it'll be a great big crowd. Hopefully the Cats bounce back and get that terrific win. Don't forget, your Saturday of footy can start at 11 o'clock. Watch the VFLW. Then 3:30 kick-off for the VFL. And then, as I said, 7:30 for the senior team here at GMHBA Stadium. Meg, we will be back next week, hopefully talking about a big Cats win.
Let's go.